Assalamu alaikum dear viewers, welcome to my channel Chess Essentials. I am Tayyib Ali. This is our second video of chess related to the topic basic endgame. And this chapter's name is Endgame of King and Pawn. In our first video we have studied the topics of opposition and outflanking. Actually the endgame between the king versus king and pawn depends upon whoever king has the opposition. If white has an extra pawn and white king will have the opposition, then white king will succeeded in queening the pawn. But if white has an extra pawn but black king has the opposition, then black king will be able to draw the game. So the knowledge of endgame is very important to win or lose a game. If you don't have the knowledge of endgame, you will lose a drawable game. To our first diagram. This is our first diagram. As you can see that black king has blocked the path of white pawn, and white king has not the ability to control the queening square of the pawn. If it is white to move, then white move to the f3 and black king move to the e6. White king move forward but black king take the opposition. Pawn gives the check and black king again block the path of the pawn. White king moves to the e5 and black king moves to the e7. White king moves to the f5 and black king moves to the f7. Pawn gives the check and white king again block the path of the pawn. So as you can see that black king does not give opposition to the white king and successfully able to hold the game, and this is a draw. This is a drawable king and pawn endgame. And now we will discuss the next diagram. In this diagram, if it is white to move, then white will lose the opposition and black king will get the opposition. And if black king gets the opposition, then he will be able to hold the game, and the result of game will be draw. First of all, let's see. If it is white to move, then white moves to the f3 and black king takes the opposition. If white gives check to black king, then black king control the path of the pawn, and this is a drawable game. Let's see this diagram, and if it is black to move, then black king lose the opposition and white king will get the opposition, and white king will be able to promote a pawn to a queen. So if black to move, then black will move the king to the d5, white move the king to the f4, and black king moves to the king to the d6. White king moves to the king to the f5, pushes the king to the d7, and then white can push the pawn pawn 2 square up. And then if it is black to move, then black can move the king to the d8, and then white again move the king up, and then black move, and then white move, and then black move and white move, and black king can't stop the white pawn from promoting. If the pawn is rook pawn, so then opposition does not matter. Let's see in this diagram. If it is black to move, then black will lose the position, but it does not care if it is black to move or white to move, because rook pawn endgame is a draw. As you can see that white can't make progress and there is a stalemate. So there is an exception when opposition does not help in queening the pawn, and this was in the case of rook pawn. Now this is another diagram. In this diagram you will understand the rule of triangle. Many of you players have learned the rule of square, but there is a similar rule which is rule of triangle. So rule of triangle says that the triangle is formed like this. It starts from pawn and it goes to the queening square, and then it forms a triangle in this way. And if it is black to move, then black can enter the triangle and will catch up the pawn. But if it is white to move, then white moves and form a new triangle. And now it is black to move, but black king will not be able to enter the triangle, so he will not be able to caught the pawn, and the pawn will promote successfully. So these are all about king and pawn endgame.